a moment ago. Feel free to take screenshots and all that, pictures, whatever, because we'll be sharing some stuff on the screen with you here. All right. It's January 2nd. Kind of our objective in this framework is to, by the way, Nicole and I have been setting goals in recent years. We try to get it done before January 1st. We try to do it sometime in December. And it's been super helpful to us, but it was more that this framework is something more like we used in December of 2023 for the 2024 year. And it's been incredible. A year later now we can say this has been really helpful to us. And so that's why we're really excited to share it with you. So basically what we're going to cover tonight is the framework for you to use and even to help your teams use to set your goals. So you're not necessarily going to be setting goals in this hour, although you can be thinking about those kind of things as we go through these. But if you can capture the content, then the point is this weekend, hopefully, like tonight, if you're on the West Coast, or tomorrow, or at the latest this weekend, you can actually sit down and carve out some time and get it done since we're already rolling in January. But we're going to talk about how to set the goals, how to create a game plan to achieve them, and as I mentioned, how to teach your team to do the same. One thing I like to think about, we've been challenged about a year ago. It was about fall of last year, fall of 23, I should say, that Eric Worre challenged Nicole and me and several of us in the mastermind. And I want to challenge you with this. If an investor, if you were explaining to an investor why, this has really challenged us, okay? Get this. If you were explaining to an investor who is considering investing in your business, your Neolife business, would he or she invest in your business? First of all, what would they want to see from you? Would they not want to hear what your 2024 was like? And regardless of what your 2024 was like, would they not want to know what your goals, your vision, your plan is for 2025 to accomplish in 2025? And as much as they'd want to hear that, would they not want to know how you're going to execute that? Say those goals of your projections for where you're going to go in 2025. Would they not want to know what's your plan to get there? And as much as they'd want to see that you have a plan to get there, would they also not want to know why why they should believe that plan is going to work to produce different results in 2025 than what you had in 2024? Of course they would, right? So think about this. That's what we're challenged. Like, would an investor, based on what you have to share with them, invest in you? Invest in your business. And you can apply this to any area of life. If you say, my goal in my marriage is to, improve it in this way, or my goal in parenting is to improve it in this way, or my goal with my health is to, in 2025, improve it in this way. Great. There's your goal. What's your plan? How are you going to get there? And why should I believe that it's going to be effective better than it was last year with your marriage or your health or your kids or in this case, your business? Is that not challenging to think about? I mean, so many years, and by God's grace, we still built a business and grew it, but we were just flying by the seat of our pants, really. Now that I think about it and I start looking back, I'm like, boy, we had a big vision that we had going for us.
Yeah. But we
had no plan. Yeah. I won't say no plan, but not a plan that an investor would want to buy into. They wouldn't. Nope. They wouldn't. And so I think that's a good starting place to start with tonight is like, and again, we're looking at it from the business perspective, but we're going to talk about more than just our business tonight because, it would be out of whack and out of balance to set goals only in one area of life. But that's the context of tonight's Zoom. But think about it as we go through it like that. Would an investor invest in your plan, in your business, in your vision? All right. So the first thing that we always do is we start with our calendar. Okay, that's what we do. We start with our calendar. And what I recommend, and if in the small white font here right under the title where it says start with your calendar, you can text the word calendar, and I always misspell calendar. So I think that's spelled right. It's A and then an E and then an A as far as the vowels go. But you can text the word calendar to our Wisdom Builders phone number that's on the screen there. That's that 678 number. And oh, I'm getting confused right now. Well, you can do that. That's not where I was heading. And what you'll get back is a link to be able to see our Wisdom Builders team calendar that has all the events on it for the year. Company events, team events, weekly calls, monthly stuff, quarterly stuff, team retreat, Rise and Rank Up boot camp in March, the Impact Summit in July, like everything should be on there. It all should be on there. World Team Neo Life Vacation, excuse me, to Tulum in October. Like everything should be on there. Now let me back up to where I was. So we start with a calendar, and this is not a calendar you can get by texting, but this is a calendar. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me stop sharing my screen for just a minute so you can see the calendar we use. Because to me, this is like a little thing that's like a big thing, just like a practical, helpful kind of thing. There we go. So, this is a calendar. This is 2 months. This is January and February 2025. This is what you're seeing on this paper. A month at a glance, where I got one whole month here and one whole month below it. It's just what I do. And then we print it. We can find them free online. Google it. But we print literally, this is, I don't know, like, let's see, it's 18 months. So that's 9 pages. 18 months. So on 9 pages, right? So we go January of 25. Huh?
It's the full size, right?
Well, no, it's half size.
Is it?
It's half,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. The
So
first year we probably did that.
we did,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it was so many, it was like 18 pages.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I
yes,
remember
that was 2 years ago. But a couple weeks ago when we did it, we were
Yeah,
using this.
yeah.
So this is, so anyway, then you end up with 9 pages, 2 months on a page, 18 months, a year. You can do a year, but we found like a year and a half is more helpful because some things, it's just nice to kind of go an extra few months into 20, in this case, 2026. And you just do that every year. It's just helpful. Little tip, but you can do 12 months or 18 months. So we print these out. We literally lay them out on our table. You can lay it on the floor if your table's not big enough, but 9 pages. Lay it out on something and literally mark them up. And the very first thing we do now, it all is going to get put on our digital calendar in Outlook, or if you use Google Calendar or whatever you use, it's going to end up in your calendar or on a paper calendar hanging on your wall. It's going to end up on your calendar. But for now, just for planning, we lay these things out. We grab Sharpies, or open that door right there, like colored. I don't even know if they're called Sharpies, but colored. Like, yeah, it is a Sharpie, like a highlighter. We use highlighters, but use whatever you want. But start, my recommendation, start with business before family. Now, if I know right now that my daughter already, which she doesn't that I know of, but has a wedding planned for next September, that's going on the calendar with a Sharpie. It's my daughter's wedding. It's already planned. It's going with a Sharpie. But okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. That obviously would go with a Sharpie. But start with business is my recommendation. You can do what you want. You'll see why I say this. Start with business and put all those, as we do, on the calendar. Now, if you text, back to my slide, if you text calendar to our Wisdom Builders team text number, you're going to get emailed or texted back the Google Calendar for our team, which will have all those things that you should put on here in a Sharpie. And maybe you already know the dates, but if you don't, that's where you're going to find them. And we put it, now this is a blank one, I'm not showing you mine, but we put them on here. What is it? I mean, it's the wellness rally on January 25th. It's the, for us, it's Dr. Todd Miller coming to Atlanta on March 13th, which nobody knows about. We'll be letting you know soon. But that's on our calendar already. It's our Rise and Rank Up boot camp, March 29th in Nashville. It's, and so on, Impact Summit in July, whatever dates it is, and so on and so forth. Fall retreat, Neo Life, vacation, those are on there. Why business first? Because let me go back to my slides, because I don't think I need to show you you got the idea of the calendar. I'll show you why business first here. Let me go back. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next slide. So these are the things, right? We start with the big company events, big team events, monthly events, even our weekly events will go on our calendar. And then when you have it all laid out, you can start to see patterns. And I'm not saying all you need to worry about this, but we look at it and we're like, here's a pattern. Here's gaps. in the calendar because it's bright and colorful and you see the business stuff that's in there. And we're like, there's gaps. And now you can maybe apply this, but there's gaps. So we need a challenge here for us and our team. We need to insert this and kind of balance the year out. Or right after this event, we're going to need something to come out of retreat with, or, it just gives you this big visual. And it also gives you, then it's like, oh, well, we want to take our kids for a week to the beach this year. We want a 1 week vacation with the kids. Like, you looking at that thing and then you figure out where that week, you can start filling in some of the other things around those things. Because I want to say something about that. Because the reason that the short answer of why we do business first is because business, most of us have a choice when we take a vacation. Most of us have a choice the day we might want to take the kids to the zoo. Most of us have a choice on the family stuff. We even have a choice of when a wedding is going to get scheduled, or, other, I don't know if wedding's a great example, but like certain, yeah, is that a good example?
Yeah.
We even have a choice of those days.
Don't.
So
but
our family's going to see this is it. And by the way, if you're getting engaged or married anytime soon, just don't hit one of the orange dates over the next 18 months, please. Because those are immovable. We can't move Impact Summit. You can't move Retreat. You can't move March 29th here in Nashville. You can't change those things. You can, for the most part, have flexibility with family stuff. So that's why we do business first, then the family stuff second. Just a little, oh, is that yours? No. Just a little,
That's yours.
did I take your stuff?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, I just kept wrong. That was all Nicole stuff she was going to talk about.
Okay, I'll just fill in where I can, but go ahead.
Why don't you talk about that?
Well, I'll let you.
Okay.
Because you're rolling.
So I just think that it's
I'll do it.
important, especially this time of year, to realize that it's so easy to let time waste. It's super easy to waste time anytime, but it's really easy this time of year, November, December, and even in January. And I think it's super helpful. Again, please go through this tonight with us, thinking about how you're applying it to your life tonight, tomorrow, or this weekend, or whenever you can sit down and make time to go through, like actually do this, what we're talking about, but also how you can help your team. And it's really important to help people realize that, and to start by realizing ourselves that time goes quickly. And when we say we want to have a great January, or any month for that matter, or a great year, but let's just say we want to have a great January. Every 3 days is 10% of the month. You realize that? I mean, it's 10% of the month every 3 days. Every 3.6 days is 1% of the year. So, I mean, every week is 2% of the year. So like, time does matter, especially if we want to hit the goals that we set out and we want to do it in reasonable time. And so many times I put this note here at the bottom, but people think, oh, I'm going to start in the beginning of the year. Well, what are we today? We're on the 2nd. And probably not all of us, I hope, but most people have their holiday hangover for a couple of weeks. Like, they really, truly don't even get rolling in this business till mid-March or mid-January. That's just normal. So we want to work against the tide. The tide floating downstream is not always a safe, happy place to be. So that said, after we schedule our business,
Yeah, you talked a little bit about this, but then we schedule family events after business. So the family stuff like Ellen talked about, the family vacations, if say someone's getting married. And just think about this. If you have a job, you show up to it Monday through Friday, right? 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And guess what? You schedule that family time around that job. So if this business is important to us and we want to get where, we have these goals, a vision plan, where we want to go, the only way it's going to happen is business first, which sounds almost cruel, but it's like, no, that's a great example, right? When someone has a job, like most of you might have you're not doing Neo Life full time. Some of you are, but you have to show up to that job. And you have to schedule your family time around that job.
yeah.
So anyway, so after you schedule business, then schedule all the family events. And that's something that we do. And yeah, it works great.
And
for us.
nobody says, you're not putting your family first.
No.
You're gone from them every Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Nobody says that to anybody.
No.
So again, we don't want to belabor the point, but we just think it's very important that if we're going to take our business serious, because what's easy to do is easy not to do. And the one thing about this business with such a low barrier of entry, $75, and you've got a multi-million dollar opportunity to do nothing with if you choose. And so that's why I think we're kind of making a big point of that, because a lot of people tend to do that because we all have things pulling at us, and we all have things that, our time is like money. If we don't tell it where to go, it just goes. And if we don't tell our time where to go, it just goes. Everybody spends 24 hours a day. So that's why we're kind of making a deal out of that. And we do want to say that this process does take time. It's not easy. We're not even quite done with our 2025, and we should have been done 2 weeks ago. But we sat down for like an hour or two. We cut back. We only had an hour or two. We didn't fully get away for like a whole day like we'd like to. And then we got back together and we spent another 2 or 3 hours on it a week or two, I don't even know, a week ago maybe. And here we are January 2nd, and we haven't like finalized it yet. We need one more meeting together, since we didn't get a full like 4 hour block or something like that to just knock it out. But it's worth it. So I encourage you hopefully to do that. Some questions like before you really get into it that we thought would be helpful to even just think about for you, and again for your team, is you can see them on the screen, but why did you start your business in the first place? Like just answer that question for yourself. Like, why did you start your business in the first place? Think about it. It's good to think about. And that reason can change too. It's like, why am I doing it now is a little different than why I started it in the first place. Some of the things are the same and some things are different now. But are you tired of playing beneath your potential? I firmly believe, and when I'm talking to the guy in the mirror, as much as I'm talking to you, I believe every single one of us is playing so far below their potential in a lot of areas of life, but specifically,
I know I am.
for sure we are in Neo life.
Yep.
And the question is, well, do you think you are? I guess that's one question you'd have to answer for yourself. And if so, I'm assuming you, like us, would agree with that, but maybe you wouldn't. But if you do, are you tired of playing beneath your potential? And the final question is, are you prepared to do what's necessary for that to change? Are you prepared to have a breakthrough? And I think the answers to those questions are super important before you jump into the weeds, if you will, or the details or the minutia of goal setting and your vision and all that. Because if you say you know why you're doing your Neolife business, and you believe you're not playing to your potential of what you're capable of doing here, and you're tired of that, you don't want that to be the story of 2025, and you're prepared to do what's necessary to have a breakthrough, then this is going to help you, I believe, have that breakthrough absolutely positively. So am I doing this or you?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
So what we're going to accomplish today. So focusing on your self-assessment. So yourself, like where you're at.
And we'll break down each one of these things.
Yeah, I won't go into it, but and then also your team audit. So your own team. And if you don't have a team yet, well, then you want to get out there and
build one.
Exactly. Yeah. Start signing people up. And then your assets and resources audit, and then developing a better you. So how could you develop a better you in what areas? In certain areas like your marriage and in business, whatever it is, in your personal goal setting, your vision of where you're going. You've got to have a game plan. Also make a commitment. So are you going to make a commitment each day? How many times a week? And then make a decision.
Yeah.
And I'll let you break that down.
All right. Let's see if I can get the slide to change. There we go. All right. So I think we've already mentioned this, so I won't belabor this. We already said just make sure you're thinking about how it can help you and how it can help others as we go through it. So the first thing Nicole mentioned was the self-assessment for you. So here's the thing. Again, you want to probably take a picture, a screenshot of, take notes, however you want to do it. But these are the things we'd recommend you things we're doing and have done, starting with where, and it says in the subtitle at the top, where are you right now? Like, where did you end 2024 in each of these areas? Where are you at with using our products and the challenge? How are you doing? Are you using a variety of the products? Or have you only used 2 or 3 of the products of the 80 products that Neolife makes, and they're all phenomenal, and you've been a promoter for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and you've never even used most of the products? Are you being a product of the product? Are you consistent in taking the product? That sort of thing. Like, where are you at with using our products? Really, not like, oh yeah, I use the products. Yeah. I take the Pro Vitality and I take it most days of the week.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, really, where are you at?
And one thing I hear a lot of people say, well, when I reach a certain level, then I'll order more product because, I'll buy more. And it's like, oh no, if you're already buying like, laundry detergent, we have laundry detergent.
The
Why
best.
not
It's
buy
awesome.
ours? And it's, the cleanest out there. And, we have the best skincare products. If you're already buying skincare products, why not buy ours? And you never know too. There's so many businesses going out of business. So you might come across someone that maybe is into skincare that used to sell skincare, and you have, the most incredible organic marine-based skincare. Or maybe someone is into cleaners. You don't know who you're going to run into. So I think that's important too. I
Yep.
just wanted to add that.
Yep. That's great. Um, like Gabby just said, the more products you use, the more experiences you have to
That's
share
right.
all the benefits from
Lots
a
of testimonies.
personal experience. So it literally can make you money. How many personal customers do you have? That's simple. I mean, go in your back office and look if you don't know, but how many personal customers do you have? How many personally enrolled promoters do you have? What is your total team size? Like, take inventory of what you have. Let's start there. All your members and promoters, do you have one? Do you have none? Do you have 10? Do you have 10,000? Like, what do you have just to work with? And of those, what's the actual number of all those promoters? What is the active number of those promoters? Not the ones that are just, one day signed up as a promoter and they're not building a business, not even trying. What is the active number? What do you really have to work with there? What is your personal rank that you're actually qualifying at? Maybe not a rank you hit one day. If you hit director one day, 1 month, but you're qualifying at senior manager, that would be senior manager. Like, what is the rank you're actually the size of your business each month, right? What is your monthly income? You probably know that very quickly and easily. What is your time commitment that right now? Like, really, truly, last week, how many hours or minutes did you put into your business? How many hours a week did you average in 2024 in your business? Think about that. Like, what was your time commitment? Your consistency level is the next thing. Did you have a baseline that, hey, it's 1 hour every day? That's my baseline. If I can do more, I do more. But I have a baseline. It's an hour a day. It's 30 minutes a day. It's 15 minutes a day, maybe. It's 2 hours a day, whatever. But is there a baseline? Was there any consistency to your business last year? How about your health? Where is it at right now? How about your weight? What should it be? What is it? Other areas of your health, any area, your fitness, your exercise program, where is it? Does it even exist? What is your focus? This is a big one. Like, where is your focus? And when you think about where your focus is, think about the business. Is the business your primary business? Or is your other business or job your primary business and Neolife is secondary? And what I mean by that is not, well, Alan, no, my other business, I got to work 50 hours a week, or my other job, I got to work 40 hours a week. Neolife, I'm doing good to work 10 hours a week. Okay. I'm not talking about time. I'm talking about focus. When I had a full-time job working 60 hours a week and I could put maybe 20 hours a week into Neolife, best guess, my focus was Neolife. It doesn't mean I neglected my business and my 60-hour a week career. I did what I had to do, but my focus was Neolife and my other career was secondary. And that's why within less than 16 months, we built a 6-figure income. If Neolife is secondary, it'll always be secondary until it becomes primary in your mind's eye. If you're new at business, so that's why you need to analyze, is it primary or is it secondary for me? Because if it's secondary for you, you will find a way to self-sabotage your lack of growth in neo life because it's not primary. It's not important. It's not important enough. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So really think about, what is your focus with neo life? And if you're okay with it being secondary and making $150 a month check forever, great. It's awesome. It's your business. But if you're not okay with that, we can't complain about the what results we don't get for the work we don't do. And the work we don't do is obviously oftentimes a lack of focus, because it's focus that can help us with the consistency piece. And it's the consistency piece that's going to get us to where we want to go, impacting a lot of lives. And as Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. So after you go do that evaluation, I would encourage you to go, what's your net worth? A lot of people have great incomes and spend it all and still are in debt. There's still more a month at the end of the money. But what is your net worth? Just take an inventory of like real life, like where I'm at in my health, where am I at in my relationships? That should be on the list too. I don't know why that's not on here. We talk about it on another slide. Where am I at in my marriage? Where am I at in my health? Where am I at in my net worth? Where am I at with these big buckets in the business? How many promoters? How many members? How many active promoters? And anyone, some of you on this call that may be like, I'm brand, I mean, we got brand new people on this call that have been a promoter for a day or two, or others of you maybe that just don't have much of a team yet. It's okay, because you know you go, okay, well, how many members do I have? None. How many promoters do I have? 3. How many promoters that are active? 0. You know what, like basically you don't have much to work with. That's okay. At least you're living in reality. At least if I get on the scale and see I'm 100 pounds overweight, I'm not fooling myself. I know I've got 100 pounds of fat to lose and I need to get to work. So if you don't have a team, I guess my point is, it's not a problem. You know where to focus. That's having conversations and talking to people and finding the other people like you that are on their knees praying at night for a solution like Neo Life. And they're just waiting to hear it from you or me or somebody, which is super exciting. All right. So we take personal inventory. The sound is going in and out, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Is Jose, I can see you. Is the sound going in and out for, no, let me ask it this way. Is the sound good for you? Can you give me a thumbs up if the sound's good for you? Or a thumbs down if it's going out, in and out? I can't see your thumb. Maybe you're frozen, or maybe I'm frozen.
I can hear you fine, Alan.
Great.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
Shelley.
Thank you. I don't want you to have sound problems, Brandon, but I hope it's on your end. Sounds good to everybody. It sounds like it's sounding good to everybody else. I see Lawrence's comment and Michelle's as well, Brandon, if you can still hear me. Maybe you can get in a better spot, hopefully. We are recording this. But anyway, so I'm going to move on.
Good.
The next thing, the slide just changed, by the way. And the only thing that changed was what?
Okay, so let's talk about your self-assessment. Where would you like to be in 12 months? So think about, as far as using our product, think about the challenges. Where would you like to be? And then personal customers.
All those same
that
things,
you
right?
would like to enroll, yes. And then promoters, how many promoters would you like to enroll in 12 months? And total team size, what team size would you like to have? And then the actual number of active team, the ones that aren't active, what would you say to that?
Well, I mean, you know, I just think, like I'd say, for all of these things, we need to look and see what is a realistic but stretch goal. What is a goal that, I mean, if you've got 5 people in your team right now and you're like, well, at the end of the year, I want to have 5,000. Maybe someone, I mean, I know people that have. So if you're willing to put in that kind of effort, great. Set your goal at 5,000, and you're, you know, you can't have filet mignon, habits, or taste or whatever with hot dog habits. You just can't. So if you're willing to have that kind of work ethic, to have like some big numbers, please put the big numbers and go for it. But make the goal realistic to the level of energy, effort, time, growth, change that you're willing to go through to go get it. So I think that's what I'd
Yeah.
say to
And
that.
then the next one, personal rank. Where would you like to be personally qualified? What would you like your monthly income to be? Time commitment. How much time are you willing to put in? And consistency. What is the baseline? How consistent are you willing to be this year? And your health. Where do you want to get your health? You know what? Looking back, I remember we were at our healthiest. We were running half marathon. You were doing marathons, and I'm telling you what, we attracted people. I mean, oh, I would love to get back to that. I mean, we're pretty healthy now, but that is our goal this year, Al and I. We are fully focused to get back to back then. I mean, we're not going to probably run half marathons because we have, you know, big goals and dreams, but we
Those
don't
aren't
have
part of,
time.
that's not
We
part
don't
of it.
have time for that personally for us where we want to go. But and then focus, where's your focus? Your primary, and then your secondary, and then net worth. So we're just going over that, but just focus on where, you know, where you would like to be
At the end of the year.
yeah, at the end of the year. So just think about that. And if you took a picture of it, great. Or you can go back and watch the replay of this when you are, you know, doing your calendar for the year. But okay, so what's stopping you? Maybe you might say to yourself, I'd be more successful if whatever, fill in the blank. Everybody has a list. If I had more time, we hear that a lot. If I can get my team to do more, they're not doing anything. Oh my goodness, it's like pushing a mule up a hill. If I had better sales tools, although I feel like we have the best tools now that we have the boards app and all these things. And if you've seen Alan's new business video, it's amazing. Or, you know, we've heard too, if my spouse, you know, was able to help me, oh my goodness, I'd be so successful. If there was better training, or if I spoke a different language, just fill in the blank. So what's stopping you? Like in your mind, like what are you thinking like, okay, what are you tempted with? Like, I know for me, there's been things in the past. And anyways, we can't think like that. So go to the next.
Brandon, that's good.
What did he say?
Brandon said he'd be more successful if there were more people he talked to that actually cared about themselves. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Funny.
That would, yeah, if there was just more people that would participate in their own
Their
rescue,
rescue,
you know, we'd be all right. Oh gosh.
Just keep loving on them. They come back. That's what I always say. So, what percentage of your potential are you currently operating on right now? And just ask yourself that question. What would happen if you?
Yeah. How about dropping that in the chat?
That?
How about dropping that in the chat right now?
That's a good idea.
Like
So
literally what percent?
Yeah. What percent do you think you're currently operating on right now?
And if you can say you're operating at 100%, I want to start getting training and lessons from you.
I'm gonna learn from you, Master.
What percent are you working on?
Because I know we're
Be
not.
honest,
I
be
know we're
honest
not at
with yourself.
100%. We're working to get there, but we haven't
Yeah,
been.
we're not. Definitely not.
And what's interesting is when we think back over 2024, I don't know what number you would say. What number would you say you were operating at in 2024 in relation to the Neolife business for you, Nicole? What would you say? What number?
To be honest.
No, to be dishonest.
To be honest, I think 50%.
50%
Mhm.
of your potential?
Mhm.
What? Oh yeah, that's what Gabby said. 50%. How do you
Gabby, so, yeah.
Okay, 50%. Wow.
Yep. But
Nope.
this year's different.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'd say I'm somewhere in that 50% range. But you know
Yeah.
what's weird is when I think back even further in the first several years of our business, I think I would say my number would be more like my potential was less because we were growing because of the business. But even still, I think I was more like 30% for a lot of those years as far as operating at my potential. But anyway, what do we have here? 68% lately. I like that. 10%, 50%. Yeah.
68.
I think it's so low, Brandon. I think it's so low. I think all of you and us are operating so much lower. And like Nicole said, what if you could raise it, right? Even just 10%.
Yeah. It would be
Well, what happened?
huge. Your business would grow.
Absolutely. All right. So that leads us to thank you for dropping that in. I'm glad you all agree that I don't think I saw any 100%. I don't think I saw any 90%. And I would agree with that. We all have so much more we can do. Whoa, we're going crazy here. Where are we at? Where are we at? Hold on.
We're at
what did I do?
Uh-oh.
Okay, we were here, right? Okay, we're there and then there.
stopping?
Boom. Okay, we're back.
This-
So that moves us to our team audit. So we did the self-assessment. Now we move to the team audit, much quicker. Okay. We're not going to audit, our teams, all the things that we audit about ourselves. But when you think about your team audit, the first thing you want to do, and we kind of covered part of this already, is what do you have to work with? Like before we sit down and do our goals, like we're going to sit down and go, okay, what do we have to work with? And it's kind of like some of those things on the slide before. How many people in our organization? How many of those are promoters? How many of the promoters are actually awake and engaged and, active? And how many of them are actually building? And how many actually care to build anymore? And that sort of thing, right? So what do you have to work with? Okay. And if you're new, you say, I have nothing to work with as far as a team. Great. It's time to go, build a team. How exciting. So what are their strengths and their weaknesses, and just taking inventory of that, and how can I best help them? This can be one great way. Even that slide, if you took a picture of it that had the 3 questions on it, even just helping them with, why did you start this business? Are you really, I guess we should make it 4 questions. Why did you start this business? Do you feel you're living up, that you're fulfilling your potential or playing at your potential in this business? Are you tired of playing less than your potential? Someone may say, no, I'm not tired. I'm just kind of comfortable here and I like it here. Okay, great. We just want to help people get what they want, not what we want. So, but most people probably are going to, like us, go, no, I'm not happy with playing below my potential. I want to be a good steward and I want to maximize my gifts, talents, and abilities. And this opportunity that God's placed in our lap called Neolife, that less than 1% of people even know the name. And it's such a blessing physically, financially, relationally, community wise, purpose, impact, all the things. No, I would like to maximize my potential in this area. Okay, great. Are you willing to do what you haven't been willing to do to make that happen in 2025? Yes or no? And there's no wrong answers. And they say yes, then it's like, well, how can I best help them? And how can I best help you, right? I mean, so this can be a great way to just foster deeper relationships and a better way to help and serve your team. Again, we can only help those that are willing to participate in their own rescue. So don't like beat yourself up if you can't help someone that's not willing to help themselves. We can't just go build a business for somebody else, but we can support them, and we can love them, and we can coach them, and we can share our mistakes and lessons learned along the way so they don't have to make the same, hopefully. But the fundamentals that we're basically any successful person's going to have is that they're willing to do the work, that they're coachable in the process, and they're hungry enough to make it happen. They've got to be willing, coachable, and hungry. And that's another thing when you're taking inventory of your team. Great question to ask yourself. Who in my organization is willing, coachable, and hungry? I'm gonna slow down here for 1 second, because we've had to learn this the hard way.
Yes, we did.
Okay, some of you that have no team, it's easy for you. You just need to go recruit a team. No brainer. The rest of us that have a team, and you have that's not 2. You have 2 promoters, or you have 3 promoters, or you have 5 promoters, or you have 10 or 20 or 30. And you're like, man, and you ask this question, like, which one can I say, or 2 or 3, or anyone in my team, I can say they're willing to do the work, they're hungry to do it, and they're hungry to succeed and do what needs to happen to be successful in this, and they're coachable. If you can't find somebody, or they're at that number smaller than what you wish it was, like you can't help someone that's not hungry, willing, and coachable. You can't. So release that. And it's a really good feeling to release that and not, I help you if it kills me. Well, it'll kill you. And then you're back to the situation. I'm going to love them. I'm going to support them. I'm going to keep encouraging them to stay close to the campfire while I'm going to go build other teams. And if anything's going to light a fire under these people that are walking around in a coma and don't realize the gold mine that's under their feet called Neolife, that's going to happen here already is happening in 2025. The best way I can help them is to go bring on new teams. And they start seeing new people coming on and lighting it up and being excited. There's no better way to excite them. So take the pressure off yourself to revive the dead and go give new life. That's my advice. But start with, when you're taking team inventory, back to this process, who do I have? that's willing, hungry, and coachable? And if the answer is not as many as you like, the answer is not to try to change them. You can't make someone be willing, hungry, or coachable. You can't. But you can go find people like you, like me, like everyone on this call that is willing, hungry, and coachable. So big, might sound super simple, but that's a huge game-changing tip that I wish I would have known years ago.
Yeah. And sometimes they're willing and coachable, but just not the hungry part at
True.
that time. And that's why I like what you said. Just keep loving on them because
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
they could be hungry. They're just not hungry
Oh,
right then. They're willing and coachable, but
they're just not hungry.
just not, yeah. And you're just like,
We
oh,
have some of the most talented
yeah,
people on our
it's
team
too
right now that
loud.
aren't hungry. Why? Because they're
Yeah.
they maybe they have golden handcuffs or their job's paying them too much or whatever. Lot of reasons. Maybe who knows what. And on a dime,
They could be hungry.
the
We've seen it,
supervisor
where they lose their
changes.
job,
Yeah,
yes.
they lose their job
They
or
come
they
back to us.
or they keep their job and get a new
Yeah.
supervisor or something changes and they're like, or their great health isn't great anymore or whatever it is. Or the natural whoever doctor they're going to that they were putting all their hope and trust in, they realized that didn't help me like I thought it would. Whatever. The scenarios are endless. Now they're hungry, willing, and coachable. So I'm glad
They're
you said
all
that.
three, yeah.
Yeah, they're all three.
Yeah.
So again, I would ask the same question of your team, like what percentage of their potential are they operating at? So your total team combined, cumulative, what percentage are they operating at? And you say 5% of their potential, 20% of their potential, whatever it is. Great. What can we do because so what leaders do in this business is you're a leader, so what we do is we help other people do more than they would have done without our leadership. Okay. I don't know. There's a lot of other aspects to leadership. I'm not trying to, espouse a leadership book to you, but if you really boil it down in my head anyway, this is how I do it in this business. You want to be a great leader, figure out a way to help other people do more than they would have done had you not been around. That is leadership. And one of the biggest ways you lead is with your feet, not your mouth. Um, but anyway, but there's more than that too. But so when you look at your team and you're taking inventory, you're like, what if they just increased by 10%? You go, my team's playing at 5% of their potential. Okay, great. What if you got them to 15%? What would that do for your business? It'd be massive. So what can you do to get them 10% more productive on average? The whole team you have, whatever it is, all 2 of them, 20 of them, 2,000 of them, whatever. What can you do? Well, you can lead by example. You can be consistent. You can control the things you can control. You can't control willing, hungry, and coachable, but you can. So I think that's a super important thing to think about there. Your assets and your resources audit would be the third thing. So just take an inventory of what do you have? Like, I know this sounds silly because you're like, well, I know my stuff. Like, especially if you've been around a few months or years, you're like, well, I know our websites and I know our videos. And do you like really like, have you taken inventory of, again, your team we've just talked about, but the tools, what are all the product videos that I would share with a prospect? What are all the business videos that I would share with a prospect? What are all the events on my calendar throughout the year? Do I really see the picture because I put it down and I looked at my year and I visually got a plan of what's happening this year because its focus is here and it's my primary objective, not my secondary objective. What do I have? Am I able to travel? Is there any ability to travel to go do an event, to get belly to belly with my team in California and I live in Washington or we live in Nashville? Can we get to 3 hours away to where Sally lives and can we have dinner together and maybe meet with a couple prospects? Like, do I have ability to travel? Like, and who would I travel to if I was going to travel? And how many times throughout the year would I be able to travel and afford to travel and be willing to invest into travel? Like, that's a thing to consider, right? What is my communication platforms? Telegram, TikTok, whatever. What do you have? What do you just take inventory of that? What is your accountability systems, your groups? What technology do you have access to? What's your CRM? Do you have a CRM? We don't. We use paper. Okay. What's your system for keeping track of your prospects? Is it paper? I mean, what do you have to work with? So that's the next thing, your assets and your resources. And then that leads to the fourth thing, developing a better you.
I was going to say something about the traveling. It's
Yeah.
so important, like to get into their network and meet their people. I think is so, so vital. And especially like if maybe, I don't know, maybe they're live locally, go to coffee, meet their people. I mean, we do that all the time. Jen Case is really good at that. I don't know if she's on this call, but she's like, you just got to meet so and so, let's go get coffee. So I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Just getting into that work. Okay.
I'll let you.
Developing a better you. So I love this. You want to go? You click it. We'll talk.
Okay. There you go.
We make a good team. Okay. So first off, you have to know you are enough. You are enough. And you need to be willing to accept embarrassment, whatever it is that you're doing, and plan, do, review, and you can accomplish anything.
You want to explain that? Plan, do, review?
Plan, do, and review. Well, I should probably go back to be willing to accept embarrassment. You're gonna fall in this business, whether you're doing social media posts. I don't know, maybe you're having an in-home and you're going through the slides and you're not saying things right. Who cares? Mess up, show them that they could do it too. I mess up all the time. This guy, I mean, perfect. He does everything right. And sometimes he has to say, I've got to mess up so they could look at me and go, okay, I could do it too. So in order to, grow, we're going to have to fail, and failure is okay. And that's something I have come to terms with this year. It's like, if I want to grow, if I want to catch up to this guy, he's so amazing. Then I'm going to have to fall a lot, and that's okay. So, and then the plan, do, review, you can accomplish anything. I don't remember that one, so I'll let you go over that.
Well, that's just what we talked about, how we make a plan.
Okay.
And we obviously do it. And then we review what we did to see what worked, what didn't work. I mean, even like when we're making our plans for 2025, we're looking back at 2024 and we're saying, okay, when we mapped everything out on the calendar and we answered these questions and we set our goals, which we'll get to here next. When we did that, like, was it effective? What would we do differently this time? Because we're back to doing the same thing again for the next year. So what do we want to do differently? We're reviewing what we planned, what we did, what was the result, and we're reviewing, do we want to change the plan? So I think we do that all the time. We talk, we invite somebody, hey, do you want to take a look at this video to learn about these amazing products? Hey, do you want to watch this amazing webinar to learn about this incredible business? And you say something stupid. We do it all the time, less now than we used to, but still words come out wrong, or it's just, feel like an idiot. And then we're doing, at least we're doing, like you said, start messy, make it happen, figure it out. And then we're reviewing, like, okay, how did that go? Okay, how could I have said that better? How could my body language have been better? Or how could I, not talk so, I kept talking too long, or, you're reviewing to get better. And that's how you really, really, really improve. So continue on.
Yeah. Don't beat yourself up, whatever you do. Give yourself radical permission to think bigger as well. So think as big as you can, and be kind to yourself always. And you can make as much as you can. Imagine if you grow. So, yeah, that's it for developing a better you.
And it really is that personal development piece that is so under talked about. I feel like, I mean, some of you may feel like we talk about it a lot in this business, but it's really under talked about for how valuable it is. I mean, like Nicole just said, you could, and this is a business where based on how much you're willing to grow as a person in your character and in your determination and in your communication skills and in your resilience and all these things, it absolutely determines the level of income and impact that you're able to make. So you can make as much as you can imagine based on how much you're willing to grow and go through the uncomfortable of growth, because growth isn't always comfortable. And the inverse of that is you can't make more than what your level of growth and leadership and communication and mindset and positivity and enthusiasm and all these things that we're talking about. We're talking about growth. You can't make more than that. And if you do happen to recruit a rock star and if something happens and your income goes way above the person you are, or we are, the income will come back down to find where we are as a person. You know, I'll give you a crazy example, but someone that hasn't learned communication skills luckily develops a rock star, recruits a rock star. The rock star goes and builds a big business. They're making a bunch of money because they don't know how to treat a person right. They burn that relationship. And this is just a made up crazy example, but if you're like, what are you talking about? They hurt that relationship. That person just doesn't, basically stops building the business because they'd rather stick a fork in their eye than work with me, because I was such a jerk to them or something, whatever. I'm just saying our level of personal growth is directly tied to our income in every area of life. By the way, it's not just Neo life. It's just that this rewards you for your personal growth more than anything else that I know of.
Yeah.
But it's in everything.
And that's something I've made a commitment this year by doing monthly in-homes with women and, going through the health talk, and it's not easy. And I'm having to put together, and thankfully Alan's helping me a little bit. We're having to make our own slides because each month we have a different health topic, it might be children's health or on depression. This month I'm doing it tomorrow night, Friday. And that hasn't been easy for me, I'll be honest, but I'm growing and it feels so good. And then things that, we have been doing in the mastermind are so scary for me, but guess what? I'm growing and it feels so good to grow. So
Yes, it does. All right. So we move on to the next thing is your vision. So you talk about, so I think before we actually set our goals, so I think what's left here tonight, and we are going to be a little over an hour, but is vision, clarifying your vision, these 5 things on the screen, and then actually setting your goals, which will be the next couple slides, and then committing to an action plan for them. So that's kind of what we have left. But first, I think you can do this in any order you want, but for us, and I think for you, it'll be really helpful to really get clear on your vision for you. Like Nicole's talking about growing in this business. Like what is your vision for you? Like as a person, what is your vision for your weight, for your muscle, for your fitness, for uh, your confidence, for your communication? Is your vision big enough for you that you can communicate, that you can, be empathetic and compelling and a good storyteller and all the things that are super valuable in life and business? Like, is your vision that for you? Like, really picture, like what is it that you want to grow into? Who do you think that person is that God created you to be? How about for your family? What's your vision for your marriage? What's your vision for your family? What does that look like? Like, let's have those targets of like what the 30,000 foot view vision is, right? For your team, for our company. How about for your impact on the world? And yes, you are having an impact on the world. We all
big
are
time.
to one degree or another. Like, how big is your vision for that?
I think of Jim Rohn. He's still making an impact on the world. And,
Right.
is he still alive?
No,
Or there's Zig
no.
Ziglar too, still
Yeah.
making an impact on
Yeah.
the world. And just think of all the people, yes,
Yeah.
that we can make an impact generations and generations.
Yeah. So good. And so just getting clear on what vision you want in these different areas, and then moving into your personal goals and your personal goals that this is not an all-inclusive list by any stretch of the imagination, but there's some personal ones in here and there's mainly business ones in here because again, this is a business focused goal setting plan, but we could go deep into just spiritual growth. We could go deep into just relational goals and stuff, but we're going to go deep into business for the context of this. But what is your goals for spiritual growth? I'm just going to skip the business ones because I've got them out of order. But if we go to the very end there, what about for fun and entertainment? Bottom right. What about for your health? What are your goals? What about for contribution and giving? Like what kind of things do you want to be able, what ways do you want to be able to contribute to your family, to your church, to your community, to like, what is the goal for that? Like, are you happy with how much time and money you have to give and knowledge and resources and wisdom and all the different ways we can give? For your relationships, I'm going in reverse order from the bottom right. What's your goal for your personal income? What's your goal for your personal rank? Now we're back into some business. So I'm going to go back to the top left because these are out of order. So after spiritual growth, top left, Like, what is your skill development and strengthening goal? Like, what do you want to be a good presenter? Do you want to be a good speaker? Maybe you already are, but I'm just saying, do you want to get better? What is your time commitment goal for the business? How many customers do you want? How many promoters do you want this year? What is your goal for your destination events attendance? Do you want to be the only one that comes on March 29th to our event in Nashville if you're coming? Hope you are. Do you want to be the only one in your team at Impact Summit? Do you want to be the only one on Neo Life Vacation in Tulum in October? Or the only one in your team at Fall Retreat, November 7th through the 9th? Do you? Well, if you don't, then, Wayne Gretzky said you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Like, if you don't set a goal to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 500, whatever your goal is, to these different events, what's the odds that you're going to work to try to accomplish that? So that's what that means is, what is your destination event attendance goal? What is your goal for new core rank growth? Like, maybe you're brand new and you're like, man, if I could get to executive manager in the next month or two and be making $500 to $1,000 a month, that's awesome. Great. Can you think bigger than that? How many of those core ranks do you want to help get to that level by the end of the year? How many people in your organization would you want to see by the end of the year that have got in, which you'll be hearing more about tomorrow, the DECA Club? Because they've recruited 10 promoters this year in 2025, and get all the special perks that are going to come with that. Wait till you hear about that
It's
tomorrow.
incredible.
But only 2% of network people in our industry will ever recruit 10 other business partners. 2%. And that's like the average, right? So if you can get 3% of all the promoters you recruit to recruit 10 other promoters, and the reason why, for those of you that knew that most people don't, is the same reason why 90% of realtors never sell a home. Did you know that? 90% of realtors never sell a home. But if you go out there and you go, hey, if I go talk to 10 realtors, you're going to find more than one that sold a home. Why is that? Well, because most people go get licensed. They pay the hundreds of dollars to go through the course. A lot easier to become a Neolife promoter for $75 and no training than a realtor. And then they dabble in it a little while, realize it's a lot harder than they think, and they quit. And that's why 90% of people that get a license never sell a home. Neolife's the same way. What's the big commitment? If you threw $75 in to become a promoter, like someone says boo to you one time, and you're like, I don't know. I don't think I like that. And I go home and pack my bags. That's what a lot of people do. So that's why the percentages are so low for those of you that are new. Okay. So what if you could get 3% instead of the average, which is 2%? What if you can get 3% of people recruiting 10 people in their lifetime? That's what it is, or more, right? Guess what your business is doing? It's going off like a skyrocket, especially if you can get it up to 4% or 5%. Incredible. Your business be doubling every year. Boom, 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 boom. And that's where we're heading. So it's really exciting times, but those are the numbers we should set goals for. What about lines of significance? For us, it'd be like, how many director legs? But for a brand new person, it might be how many other like managers, do I want to build this year, or senior managers or executive manager, like core rank, like we were talking about before. That's why I say lines of significance. What's your goal for that? How, where's your goal for focus? So I know some of this is replicated, but what's your personal rank goal? Well, you want to step up to what rank by the, end of the year, or any goal, maybe by the end of this month. You set the goal for that. Relationships, all that. We're back to what we've already covered. So set your personal goals. Oh man, I'm drawing on these. How do I do that? Or somebody else is.
I don't know.
Somebody else is drawing on my screen. Okay, that's okay. I'll just overlook the red lines. I don't know how to erase them. So anyway, so these are some things. If you want to take a screenshot, recommend, dialing in of like, okay, these are some of my personal goals, or business goals and personal goals. And what is the accountability structure going to be? I'll tell you one thing that's really helpful. Just go tell others. Go tell others what you're going to do, and tell them if you don't do it, they can call you a big fat liar. I don't know. Tell them whatever you need to tell them to give you the accountability, because nobody can hold nobody accountable. Let's see. Is that good grammar? Nobody can hold anybody accountable. I don't know how to say that. Nobody can force somebody to stick to their goals. Nobody can do that. Only we can choose to do that. So do whatever it takes to give yourself the accountability. That might be someone checking in on you. Maybe that will help you, maybe it's whatever, but do whatever it takes that will force you to do what you want to do. And then think about how can you help your team do the same and have accountability. You can ask them, what if you are not doing what you say you want to do to get to the goal you've told me you want to get to, what would you like me to do to help you? What would you like me to do? You want me to yell at you? You want me to kick you? You want me to ignore you? I wouldn't say any of those things, but I'm saying open-ended question. You tell me what you would like me to do to help you if you stop showing up. So that can be helpful. And then it's one thing to have goals. We must write them down. Hopefully you all know the statistics. They're off the charts. People that write down their goals versus those that just look through the list and go, okay, I want to be here, and do it all mental. It's not even close, the results of the people that write them down. Now you want to take the percentages even higher that you're actually going to achieve them. Create a game plan to accomplish them.
It works.
Right? Do that. And here's your game plan. Some of it's personal development and some of it's taking the actual action. But we've got to guard our mind. There are distractions coming at you and me every minute of every day.
It's life.
There's negativity coming at us all the time. We have to guard our mind from distractions and negativity. We have to feed our mind. This is a very good reason. I mean, there's scriptures talks about this. Guarding our mind and protecting our mind and renewing our mind and taking thoughts captive. And we need to feed our mind. It's one thing to guard it, keep that out, but we need to be feeding it positive things that are going to make us more productive. Super important. Super important. And then we need to map out, we talked about this already. We need to map out our calendar. I won't repeat that. And then we need to figure out, because we've committed to time, we said we are going to time block 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, whatever our time commitment is. We're going to do this thing. Well, what are we going to do in that time? What is our daily method of operation? What is our daily DMO, as it, acronym spells? But what is it that we're going to do? And that's not what this is a training about, but we need to have that, because if we don't know what to do, how are we going to know what to do? We don't even have a plan. And then participate. My encouragement is participate in the campaigns and the challenges that we're doing as a team. They will help you. They will help you stay on track. Ask anybody that participated in our presentation challenge from November retreat to December 23rd, if they did more and had more success than they would have during that season, that can just be, in the business context, a wasted 6 weeks, basically. It just goes poof, and you're like, where'd it go? And what happened to my business? Oh, I don't know. Well, why is January not rocking? Well, because I took my pedal off the gas for 2 months in November and December, and now I'm slowing down. There is something called inertia. But anyway, ask them if that helped them. When you plug into a challenge and you do the challenge and treat it like a challenge, you will get further, farther, faster, and you'll help more people in the process. So do that, commit to that, and then just tighten up your accountability, whatever that looks like. But accountability is a big thing. So use that to your advantage and make a commitment, right?
Yep. What successful people do, they say yes, they tell the world, and they just figure it out as they go. So they may mess up, and that's okay. They learn from their mess ups, their failures, and they keep going.
You said what successful people do or perfectionists do?
Successful.
Oh, not perfectionists? They don't just say yes, tell the world, and go figure it out as they go? No.
No.
That's me. I'm a perfectionist, or I'm in recovery though. I'm a recovered perfectionist, I will say, because I am doing a lot more. You say yes, tell the world, we'll figure it out as we go. And it's a whole lot more productive. And I've seen these people. Eric Warren, I was talking about a minute ago, but okay, we're going to, COVID hit. We're going to build a studio. We can't have an event with 18,000 people in an arena for GoPro in December. We'll build a $20 million studio, and it'll be around, and it'll have Zoom screens everywhere. And it's they'd never built a studio before. They didn't know what they were doing. You know what they said? They said, we're going to build a studio. It's going to be state of the art. It's going to be just amazing thing. And we're going to do this amazing thing. They didn't know how they were going to do it. They had no idea how they were going to do it, but they said yes, they told the world, and they figured it out. Talk about accountability. There's some
It was
accountability.
mainly his wife.
And
You know,
yeah.
she did it actually.
And so that's just an example, though, of what a great way to get something done. And we're doing
Yeah.
so much more
It's
of
that
this
pressure.
lately.
It's that pressure, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I got to do this.
Yeah. And it's
Good pressure.
rewarding. It's a good pressure.
Yeah, good pressure.
So are you covering this? Why don't you cover this? You want to cover this?
So no bad experiences. So yeah, I talked a little bit about it. Start messy. And
This is successful people perspective.
Yeah. So they have no bad experiences. They start out messy and they get better every day. And they're unstoppable because they have a plan. They use that plan. They do it. They actually do it. And then they review it if they do mess up. So there's no bad experiences. It's all positive for them. And all experiences are learning experiences. Like I said, they fell forward. I love that. They fell forward. I'm going to use that. I love it because I'm always failing forward. And don't be in love with being perfect or looking cool. And then just be productive.
I know I don't look cool,
Yeah,
so that's
you're
not a
just so
temptation
smart.
for me.
Being the perfectionist.
Yeah.
Just be productive and you're going to get better daily. Just do the do. Just do the do.
Yep, that's right. And make a decision and just go for it. You know, think bigger, be stronger, move faster. And I would we'll close with this. Why? It's a question for you to ask yourself or to answer to yourself, I guess, again, is why is 2025? Because everybody this time of year is like, oh, I mean, you know, we're getting all the texts and the messages, you know, I'm sure you are too, right? Everybody, Happy New Year. Oh, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be the best. And that is what is such a fun time about this time of year, because when I say everybody, I know not everybody, it's a real hard time of year for some people, but a lot of more people are a lot more hopeful. It's like new starts, you know, new day, new week, new month, new year's big, new year. Oh, it's a new year. So like people are excited and like, oh, it's going to be a great year. But I've heard that so much. It's going to be a great year. And it is actually. But I hear that a lot. And I'm like, okay, so let's ask ourselves, we've said that before. A lot of people say that every beginning of the year, and not everybody has a great year. So why is 2020, and ultimately God is fully in control and sovereign and all that. So I'm not getting into the fact that I can't control my year, and nor can you, but you know, the Bible says a man make his plans and Lord directs his steps. So we obviously have a role in this whole game of life. But why is 2025 going to be better? Like, why? And this kind of just comes full circle back to that first question that we started off with is why would an investor, could you convince an investor? Can you go through this exercise? And I hope that you do. I really, really, really hope you do. But can you go through this exercise and map out your year and plan your year and present, you know, come back to us, right, on a Zoom here a week from now and present. Let's just imagine. And you're going to present. This is my inventory. This is where I'm at, my health, my net worth, my this, my that, my number of members, my number of promoters. This is my income, blah, blah, blah. Here's my goal. My goal is da, 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 da. Here's my plan. Here's my calendar. Here's my events I'm committing to. Here's my daily method of operation. I'm committing to this much time each day. During that time, this is what I'm going to do. And blah, 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 right? This is my vision. This is my vision for my family, for my health, for my team. This is how my vision to impact the world, how my Neolife business is going to reach the world, what that really means. Here it all is. Now, thankfully, in this business, you don't need an investor, but let's pretend.
And let's pretend they're going to either invest in Tesla stock or you. Which one will it be?
Yeah. Would you, that's good. Would you
Yep.
be able to convince
Can you
them
convince them
that it's a
yours
good
is better?
investment,
Yeah.
that you're a good investment because you are your business, we are our business? Like, would you? And if the answer, when you get all done, is no, then don't be discouraged, be challenged, you know, and say, okay, what do I need to do so that an investor would say, that right there is it, man. I'm looking, I can only see 3 people on my screen, but Katrina, Shelly, and Scott, man, y'all are good investments. Yeah, I'll make
We'll do
that
it.
deal.
Yeah.
I believe it's gonna
Gonna
be a
take Shark
good year.
Tank.
And so I think it's a great, I mean, I just love thinking about that. I hope it keeps me in reality, keeps us in reality, because I want to live in reality. I don't want to just go, it's gonna be a great year and get to the end of the year and like, okay, maybe next year's going to be a great year. And like, who wants to do that? You know, oh, this year I'll lose the 10 pounds and oh, this year I'll lose the 10 pounds and this year I'll lose the 15 pounds because now it's grown. You know, who wants to live life like that? I don't. So that being said, I guess that's the end of the slide. That's the end of the thing here, but let me
I
stop.
had a question.
Okay.
I
What
saw a
is Bob's question? Yeah. If you all have questions, we
About
can
focus, I remember.
try to tell you how we don't have the answer. Or let's see,
Yeah.
stop sharing. There we go. All right. Bob, what was the question? Is it in the chat?
Can you talk a little bit more about where your focus is? Us
Oh,
personally?
yeah. You were asking about focus. Just, I think maybe another word for that could be priority of what I was trying to communicate is where's your priority? Now, when I compared my 60-hour work week 9 years ago, to my best I can tell, maybe 20-hour a week Neolife part-time business before it was our full-time thing, you know, my priority was, that's why I like the word priority, but my priority was I needed to be certain places at certain hours for my job because I had to provide for my family first and foremost. But my focus and my Neolife business, here's another way to say it. It was front of mind. Maybe this is a more helpful way to absorb what I'm trying to say, a better way to communicate. It was front of mind. It was absolutely front of mind all day, every day. It wasn't like over here somewhere where I got busy with the kids and I got busy with the marriage and I got busy with my 60-hour work and I got busy with my workout and I got busy eating and I got busy with all the things of life,
You were always
sleeping.
open everywhere you went. When you flew,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You were open for
Yep.
business.
Yep. Nobody had to like call me and remind us that, oh, you have a Neolife business. Are you going to show up for the event? Are you going to come to the thing? Are you going to, why aren't you on the call on Monday nights? Like nobody had to do that because it was front of mind. Like that was where my focus was, even though I was working a 60-hour week and I was a father to 6 children and I did value my marriage and spent time with my wife and all that. Thankfully, she was building with me. So that was cool. But I'm just saying, does that help, Bob? I hope that helps. That's all I was trying to say about focus. If Neolife is not the focus, it will, there's nothing to bring it into focus. It goes from front of mind. I don't know if this is showing up. It'll circle around to be in somewhere back here where we don't see it, or even over here of our peripheral where we just don't see it. And we're seeing all the other things to deal with in life that demand attention. And Neolife does not demand anything of us. People go, oh, it's so great. You know, you can take off for 5 years or 5 months and it'll still be there. Well, yeah, the opportunity will always be there, but that doesn't mean it's growing and nothing just nothing stays status quo forever. People die, customers lose. I mean, you can't just ignore something and expect to ever hit your goals. So hopefully that's helpful. Any other comments or questions? We are done, by the way, if anyone wants to go. I know. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
It's been fun. Let me stop the recording actually, and we'll stick around for